The universe doesn't adjust itself based on how you see it. It operates based on laws functioning of reality, and they are unchanging regardless of individual beliefs, interpretations, or circumstances. Just as a light cart requires little push and a heavier cart requires a very hard push, when you push against a wall, the wall pushes back with an equal and opposite force, governed by principles that don't depend on your acknowledgement. And yet, most people live as if success, failure, and progress are personal struggles. The truth is, they're often just the results of laws you never bothered to learn. So let's shift that mindset, not for some motivational high or empty inspiration, but for true understanding. Because once you grasp these laws, your perspective on everything will change. Fulfillment's law says, if you don't need to decide, don't. Every decision you make has a mental cost. If you waste your focus on trivial choices, you weaken your ability to make important ones. This isn't about avoiding decisions. It's about strategic thinking. The most innovative minds simplify their lives, not out of laziness, but because they understand that mental energy is finite. That's why top-performing bosses delegate everything except high-impact decisions. It's not because they can't decide what's for lunch. It's because they recognize that mental energy is a precious resource. Take the law of cause and effect. Every action has a corresponding reaction. This isn't about being pessimistic. It's about understanding system dynamics. Every system, whether it's a business, a relationship, or even your daily routine, tends toward entropy. Things naturally move from order to chaos. That's not negativity, it's just physics. The successful people aren't the ones who expect everything to go right. They're the ones who know that things will inevitably go wrong, and they're ready to adapt and recover. Backup plans, safety nets, redundancies, these aren't signs of fear. They're marks of wisdom. Gilbert's law reminds us that your results are your responsibility. Not everything in life is in your control, but two crucial things always are: your decisions and your reactions. Over time, those two factors compound to the point where they outweigh everything else. Small, intelligent choices made consistently will eventually overcome bad luck and obstacles, and if applied over time, they create exponential growth. The real question isn't, how do I control everything? It's, where can I make the biggest impact? Once you identify those leverage points, press them relentlessly. Imagine you've spent weeks preparing for a trip, you have packed all boxes in the trunk of the car, kids are ready, and then, 2 minutes before you leave for your trip, your car decides not to start. Panic, frustration. This is Murphy's Law in action. But if you had anticipated the chaos and prepared for another means of transportation, you wouldn't be scrambling. You'd be executing your plan, be like a pro. Then there's Clinton's Law. A problem well-defined is half solved. Most people don't struggle because their problems are unsolvable. They struggle because they haven't clearly defined the problem. They don't seem to like my skills. Now that is vague and overwhelming. But break it down. These skills are probably outdated, or you haven't learned anything new in years. Now, the problem isn't some existential crisis. It's a list of actionable items. Writing things down creates clarity, and clarity leads to understanding. Understanding makes solutions obvious. Then there's Wilson's Law that says prioritize knowledge, and wealth will follow. And I'm not just talking about money here. Wealth is about opportunities, skills, and leverage, all of which stem from knowledge, not just information. There's a difference between knowing that compound interest exists and truly understanding how exponential growth shapes everything around you. The most successful people don't just get lucky, they understand fundamental principles and apply them consistently. Example is an entrepreneur who grasps consumer behavior deeply. And the same applies to athletes mastering biomechanics. Finally, so what do you do with these laws? You can fight them, ignore them, or pretend they don't apply to you. Or you can recognize that reality doesn't bend to your preferences and start working with it instead of against it. Think of two students. One blames the system, the bad professor, or their lack of time. The other takes responsibility, seeks help, finds better resources, and adjusts their study habits. Over time, the gap between these two approaches becomes massive. Understanding these laws is the first step toward mastery, and mastery leads to success. If you love this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos.